Ta-da! Do you want to do this too? Or do you want to keep the smaller foot pedals? That scares me a little bit.
This color?
Yeah. I have an idea for your interior rather than paint it.
Welcome back to drybonesgarage. This episode is a part of a series where my dad and I take a 63 Corvair and a G-body frame and combine them together to create a hot rod. In this episode we set the foundations for the interior, so I hope you guys enjoy that and I'll see you at the end of the episode.
What are your thoughts on a headliner for this thing?
I don't know what a headliner is.
The roof fabric.
I don't know.
Now we've decided on a fabric and a pattern that you want at least on the seating surfaces.
Yeah.
Do you want to do something like the same on the roof? Or do you want to try and get a factory headliner in this thing? I haven't shopped around. I don't know what those things cost. I do know that they're a headache to put in, and right now we haven't found a reasonably priced gasket for this thing, which is why the glass is still in it.
Can we wait until it's painted? Do you understand what I'm saying? Can that wait?
Until the interior is painted?
Yeah, and then we can see what looks best.
We can look at it. I haven't bought the material yet, so. Do you want pedals that are like what's in the Malibu? Or do you want to? We could. I know we've got the gas pedal laying around here someplace. I don't know where the heck it is at the moment, but we could take some 14 gauge, take these apart, make pads very similar to these, or we could cut this, but this actually is history. Somebody might be able to use this. I'm kind of reluctant to just hack this up.
Yeah.
If you're tracking, but we could take 14 gauge, replicate these, weld them to the pads that are existing on this, G-body pedal set, and literally put the Corvair pedal pads in here, like so, and then get that Corvair gas pedal and see what we have to do to fiddle around to get that onto that G-body gas pedal bracket. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And ta-da! I found the shift lever for this thing, so we can do some farting around, kind of replicate. Which I'm thinking what we'll do is we'll just weld a plate to this wherever we want to set this in the arc to put that where it's comfortable for you, and then we'll just knock the rest of this off, so it'll just be the old school shifter. We can even go really stubby with that too if you want. Get ridiculous, go karty, make it like a Miata. But yeah, so getting a little more retro, getting a little bit closer.
Yep.
You want to do that too? I knew you wanted to do this, or I figured you would.
Yeah, I do.
Do you want to do this too? Or do you want to keep the smaller foot pedals?
I think I like the bigger ones.
You like the bigger ones. Okay. So we're about to a point where that entire assembly's got to come out of the car. We've got to figure out a transmission for the wiper, a mount and a transmission for the wiper motor, so we can get that all buttoned back in. We know where we can't be because of the HVAC, and then we've got to paint the firewall. I have that bright red yet. We don't have this color red. Your sister checked that out at her school, and wow, that's an obscene number for what we need and what we need it for. There's a couple different directions we could go. This is kind of a bizarre, almost orangey red, but it's still darker than the red we have.
Yeah.
And we're talking about now you want to, at least for an experiment, we're going to clear coat the interior with the patina. Much of this isn't going to get noticed. Much of that's going to be covered under carpet. We can paint that black, satin black, which isn't right, but it's obviously not going to match. It's obviously intentionally not matched. We could paint it that bright red. You may not notice it. Just a little hint of red under there, depending on which way we go with the carpeting. I think the carpeting is going to be a brighter red. The upholstery that I recall in the Impala was pretty bright red. I know you want to do that other thing with the seating surfaces, but we're probably going to end up using vinyl for all the non-seating surfaces, I would guess, at least eventually. And from what I can tell, that stuff's fairly bright. So you've got some decisions to make there. If this doesn't work, we have some options here. We have different ways we could go. We could look into a darker, I think they call it a royal red.
Yeah.
We could look at getting for this thing, because we are trying to stay on a budget, despite the fact that it's been blown to smithereens several times over again. We're not just throwing money at this thing to throw money at it.
Yeah.
You know, now what we're doing is I'm dumping a lot into the safety of the car. I don't care about that. Brake, suspension. It's new for a reason, not just to show off. I don't want you dying behind the wheel because we overlooked something, basically. We could go with the bright red if you don't like the patina. You know, if we scuff this up and clear coat it, if you don't like it, we can go with the bright red, which most likely will match with the fine vinyl. And I anticipate the carpet will probably be our best, closest, off-the-shelf, easy to get, inexpensive enamel paint.
Yeah.
We could try getting creative, get a quart. Well, we already have a quart of the bright red. We could get a couple of pints of some other colors that, if my eye hasn't thoroughly failed me, could probably or possibly be added to that red to bring about a tone comparable. I'm not going to say matching because, you know, we're dealing with other people's mixes and just kind of spitting in the wind based off of what my eye sees. Your sister might be better at that. She's younger, and you're both artists. You know, you both should be quite good at picking out what colors and, to a degree, what volumes to try and match that off of, you know, with off-the-shelf paint. That scares me a little bit.
What does? This color?
Yeah, because I can see a little orange in it. I can see some browns, some ochres. That's not stuff you're going to find easy off the shelf, necessarily. Now, I'm not sure what it would take to actually do the wheel. And I'm not sure I would want to, just because that is some sexy patina on that thing.
Yeah.
You know, try replicating that. But if we left, you know, I don't know. This is part of the reason I'm hoping that you like the clear coat as much as I like what I'm seeing in there right now, is then we don't have to mess with it all. We just buy a bright red carpet, shoot that red, leave the vinyl, and then your solution to the seating surfaces. What I would like to do, this is my suggestion, is clear coat what's there. Paint that lower half bright red, just like we did on the column where we welded that G-body lower into the Corvair upper, and then just let nature take its course from there, is what I'm thinking would be the path forward. But that's your decision. You know, we can maybe blow some in here too on the lower end. We'll tape off all of, you know, what's actually got paint on it, and then blow that in there, or we can go with, like, go get some of that stone chip paint, the stone effects or whatever, like we were talking about doing in the trunk. We can do on that package shelf too. And I'm thinking eventually when we put a stereo in it, we'll mount the speakers kind of facing down back here. You know what I'm saying? In that same pocket, and then that can kind of refract or reflect through the cabin of the car. You're getting all creepy close-up on me again, aren't you?
I'm just trying to avoid the really dark shadows.
Yeah.
It's
We should have put more light in there before we started talking about this.
Yeah.
But this was kind of a, hey, we got to have a discussion. Do you want it on camera?
I'm just fine with the clear coat for now.
On this. But what about all of that stuff? What do you want to do with that?
I don't know.
I have an idea for your interior, rather than paint it.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I don't know if we want to share it necessarily yet, but boiled linseed oil.
What linseed oil?
Boiled linseed oil. We'll put a protective coating, or should put a protective coating on this stuff. There'll be a low sheen.
So that protects from rust and whatnot?
Mm-hmm. I know it's used primarily in wood. I know Lucky Costa?
Yeah.
He rubbed his entire, the Chevelle, he rubbed that entire thing down with boiled linseed oil. And it gave it kind of a cool effect.
Would that like grease up things you put on it and stuff, like paper? Or
Not once it's set up, no. It sets up. It takes a while to set up, but it'll set up. I was just thinking today that might give the interior a killer effect.
We can try it.
Okay, we'll give that a shot, but we have to finish prepping. And if we're gonna do that, we might want to blow in the other areas with that brighter red, or do you want to get a Regal red and we can go with a darker too and blow it in? That's your call. Either way, or it's obviously not gonna match this. Maybe we could get some of that Kubota orange and the Regal red and kind of play with it and come up with a darker red orange. That might get us semi-close. Most of that's going to be covered, but some of it will be exposed. We'll give it a try, see what happens.
Okay.
Do a little bit of mixing. Mixing and matching. Have to go one more. There it is. Don't want to overshoot, because once you're too far, you're too far. I don't want to run these cables along the bottom of the car right next to a moving drive shaft. So I was going to bring them up here. I started looking at that as like, that's going to bring it right up underneath the seat, directly at the seat. So if we bring them in low here, I think we'll be able to kind of feed them up through the suspension into the car, like so, and have them laying relatively flat to the floor when they come in with a somewhat forgiving grommet. Ew, I still don't like that. Grab a file.
That sounds like a chimpanzee screaming.
You ever heard a chimp getting ticked off?
Oh, yeah.
But I figure if we do that, we can put in a fair amount of urethane right there to make sure that everything is kind of glued together.
Yeah.
That somebody sitting on that thing bouncing around on the foam isn't going to work that out of the hole necessarily. I figure eventually this will be laying in here just like this. And then that one will shoot kind of over, up, and across. And clip that down like so. You almost never know it's there. This one's going to have to be a little bit more creative to get it there, but once carpet's in here, padding's in here, ain't no one going to know that's there. If we basically know how we're routing these, we get them anchored down, we can figure out what we need to do and where we have to locate this and how we have to alter it to make it do what we want it to do.
Did you want to say what you said something about the drive shaft?
Just about 2 inches too long, so we're going to have to get it cut.
Okay. Well, that's about it, everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, then please give us a like. And if you want to hear what we're going to be doing with the car in the future, please make sure to subscribe. With that being said, I hope you guys have a wonderful week and a lovely weekend with your family. And I'll see you next weekend. Bye.